Good evening. The League of Women Voters of Pocatello welcomes you to our 2023 Candidate Forum. I am Susan Carter, the moderator of tonight's forum. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization which seeks to promote active participation of citizens in government. Recordings of this event may not be used without the express written approval of the League. No part of the League-sponsored video reduction may be used in advertising or in any way to promote the candidate. The League will only allow audio-video of this event to be broadcast in its entirety. The format for tonight will be as follows. We will alternate between the candidates, allowing each candidate 2 minutes to give an opening statement, including their qualifications, what they bring to the position they're seeking, and what they feel is the most crucial issues needing to be addressed. Opening questions were compiled by the Pocatello League, and we will be taking questions from the audience this evening. There will be a League member who can pick up questions from you and take them to be read for clarity. We will try to get to all questions, time allowing. When responding to a question, you will have 1 minute. The timer will let you know how much time is left for your response. We ask the audience to refrain from commenting during the candidate's response time and the candidate to stay on topic. Tonight we will hear from the candidates for Chubbuck City Council, Seat 3, Melanie Evans and Annette Baumeister. We will not be hearing from School District 25 candidates due to all but one candidate declining to participate and League rules stating that we can never hold empty chair debates and can never invite an unopposed candidate to participate in a multi-candidate debate or forum. It was with great disappointment that we made this decision, but had to follow the guidance of the League to ensure that the event would not damage the League's nonpartisan reputation by creating the impression that the League favored one candidate over another. So now each candidate will give their opening statement. Ms. Evans.
Thank you. My name is Melanie Evans. I have been serving on the Chubbuck City Council for the past 8 years and would love to continue serving in this capacity. I love being involved and trying to have a positive impact on the people and places around me. I love this community and the people in it. A little bit about me. My family and I lived in Chubbuck for 17 years. I grew up in Burley and in Hull. My husband and I have a few businesses in town, including a multidisciplinary healthcare practice as well as a development company. We have 2 awesome kids, and Chubbuck has been a fantastic place to raise them. I am passionate about beautification, park improvements, quality development, and economic development. I always listen and try to understand all sides of every issue that come before me. And I always make my decisions based on what is best for the community as a whole and not for individuals or special interest groups. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Baumeister. Thank you.
I'm the daughter of a 36-year Michigan police officer. My father illustrated the example. Service is paramount. Community decision-making should include all voices. That's why I once again have been called by my peers to run for seat on the Chubbuck City Council. I was raised in Chubbuck, and I like to think that Chubbuck has grown up with me and I've grown up with Chubbuck. It's been amazing to watch it develop a more refined personality while still keeping that small town feel. Currently, I'm a business professional with leadership experience. I have previously served 1 term on the City Council. Additionally, I am in my 7th year serving on the Chubbuck Development Authority, and I'm honored to be serving my 3rd year as the chair of that board. I have served on the board of directors for Mountain Development Corporation, and I recently completed the 2-year Leadership Pocatello Chubbuck program offered by the Chamber of Commerce, which was a profound growth experience. I know your tax dollars are hard-earned and understand the responsibility to ensure that they are used wisely in order to build our state from within. I also made it a point to not operate in a silo, but rather seek to understand how Chubbuck fits into the greater community, to know how to take advantage of these relationships for mutual benefit and Chubbuck's best interests as its own unique community. Keeping our city in good repair, tightening development timelines, and transparent communication are what you will get from me. I am known for getting things done. Let's build our service to our community together. In this election, the people get to decide who will represent them best. I'm asking the citizens of Chubbuck to elect me, so listen to you, show up for you, act in your best interest, and be your voice. I would be deeply honored to represent you, so I ask you for your vote. All three of you here.
Thank you, Brooke. We'll start with the questions. What would you like to accomplish if elected? And we'll start with you, and then we'll alternate who starts the questions.
Right, sounds good. I think in my time on the city council, it's been great being involved in the projects and the beautification and the things that have gone on. I would like to continue that. I feel like we have made a lot of headway on ordinance changes the last several years that are making our development standards more high quality, which I think you see in the things that are being built in the city. So I think just continuing on that path of trying to fight efficiencies and do the things that will make the city a better place.
Thank you. The psalmist, same question.
Thank you. I think the biggest initiatives that I like to focus on, other than the things that we have done in the past on either the city council, Melanie and myself, or on the Chubbuck Development Authority, is I really want to make it a goal to shorten the development timeline. Making or currently the way the ordinances are written and the procedures, it takes a long time, which can really intimidate developers, sometimes delay projects, or even create an environment where they don't want to develop here because there's too much risk involved. So that is one of the biggest things that I'd like to work on. And then just, again, continuing the stuff that we've been working on with continuing to repair dilapidated areas in the city and creating maintenance programs that will prevent that repair in the future, which in turn will create a lower tax base once we get that all under control.
Thank you. Many people run for office are active with other responsibilities, such as careers and families. How would you balance those commitments with the demands of the city council? And we'll start with you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. So I actually, when I stepped down 4 years ago when my term was up, the reason that I did that and because I knew I didn't have the time to dedicate to the city council. I am in the real estate industry, and real estate was really happening, and my role as an escrow officer was extremely demanding. I found that I wasn't able to make it to additional responsibilities, not something you have to make to, but like chamber ribbon cuttings and being a representative for the city. And I wanted to ride by the city. I knew I wasn't in a position to put the time in, so I stepped down. That is now slowed down, and I'm in it for all in my job. So I feel like there's more balance involved there, and I really want to give it my all. The Chubbuck Development Authority did, especially being chair, did take a lot of my time, but not as much as the city council. So I do think that that is a very valid question.
Thank you. Ms. Evans?
Yes, I agree. That has definitely been something that I've had to figure out. Obviously, my family does come first. And there have been times that meetings have been difficult to make it to, but I have always, over the last 8 years, I've missed very, very few meetings. And if I did have meetings where I had other obligations, I would call into those meetings to make sure that I was still in attendance. So it's been something that I have found that I have been able to balance with my other obligations, and I could continue doing that.
Thank you. What are your priorities for infrastructure maintenance and improvements? And we'll start with you, Ms. Evans.
Great. Probably priorities for me in that area would be, very high on my list is our parks. Infrastructure and maintenance. We've been through a couple of rough years with our parks, and we are working very hard to get on top of that. Also, our roads. I think our roads and infrastructure are very important. So figuring out which projects need to be prioritized and figuring out how to do that. The CDA has been very helpful in that process. So those are probably the top two for me, with the parks and roads that need our attention and our tax dollars.
Thank you. Ms. Baumeister.
I don't know how to fit this into 6 seconds. I'm going to try. So the Chubbuck Development Authority, we just sunsetted out a 30-year TIF, and with those funds, we did a lot of road projects that were necessary, that were within the TIF area. I'm actually really excited that we've closed out that TIF, because that means that those funds go back to the city budget, and then the budget can reallocate, or the city can reallocate those funds to areas of need that were outside of the TIF area. We definitely still have road projects that need our attention big time, and the city is facing having to recover from years of neglect of routine maintenance, which has now caused a need for major repairs, and at the same time implement maintenance projects that are going to prevent dilapidation and worsen in the future. So roads are definitely a priority. Beautification is awesome. We can get that through healthy, happy relationships with our developers.
Thank you. There are many multi-family housing units being built in Chubbuck. How do you see this affecting the water supply and other non-renewable resources? We'll start with you, Mr.
When I was on the city council before, so long, we actually addressed water shortage issues by putting in new lift stations, a new well, more pumps to prepare for growth. And at that time, multifamily units were on, and higher density were on our radar. So we have already prepared for that. We also implemented ordinances and codes for our infill that would allow for multifamily. I think that our intent was hopefully to create some entry-level housing co-ownership models that has been taken advantage of for rentals, which is fine. We actually still have a rental shortage in this area as well, so we're fine with that. But yeah, we're prepared for that when it comes to infrastructure.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I agree with the things that Dennis said. We do have a capital plan for our water systems that we spent a lot of time and efforts on to make sure that we would not run into water shortages in the future. The multifamily housing here is definitely a need, and we have also worked very hard to make sure that that goes in a quality, good way for our community, so that it adds to our community and not detracts from our community. I think it's a great addition to our community.
Thank you. What experience has prepared you to serve in this position, Zenz?
I would say the experience that has prepared me for this position is the last 8 years of serving in this position. I've learned a lot about how the city works. I've learned about how decisions need to be made. I've learned a lot about the city budget and have called for more transparency and information in that process. So I think just being involved for the last 8 years is definitely what has prepared me the most for this.
Thank you. And the same question to you.
I would agree. My family council has helped me develop that knowledge and those skills. In addition, serving on the CEA and especially in the leadership capacity of being the chair has allowed me to see economic development from a different angle. I've been able to participate in some initiatives with public-private partnerships with our developers in order to create beautification like we've talked about, and specifically in the area of development. When I look at the areas that have been beautifying, it's because they have been developed. They used to be a railroad tie and art, and now they're a multi-business complex and things like that. Also, my experience in leadership and also working with the development community has given me a different perspective that I can bring to the council as well.
Thank you. Would you support overhead night lighting for Chubbuck Road, Hawthorne Road, Philbin, and New Day Parkway, understanding that part of these thoroughfares might belong to Pocatello or Bannock County? And we will start with you, Tom Bister.
Okay, that's an interesting question. I would support it on where we have jurisdiction, which would be Chubbuck's property. Anywhere where there's a crossover jurisdiction, and I don't know if I'm even understanding the question right, but I'm going to answer it the best I can. Wherever there's shared jurisdiction, like where one road is partially in Pocatello and then turns into Chubbuck, there could potentially be partnership there with Bannock Transportation, which is the governing entity that kind of works on those areas. So I would, support participation in that so that we can have continuity in the lighting so that it all looks the same. But really, we only have jurisdiction in Chubbuck, so we can only address those issues there. But yeah.
I do not have a lot to add to that. I would support it if it was something that was good for our city, which would depend on how it was how it was prepared and how it was going to be put in, and what the reasons for that would be. So, but again, yeah, we don't have any control over other areas, so it would be something we would need to work with those other jurisdictions on and see if it was the best thing.
How do you specifically plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in town? And will you follow the wishes of the constituents, even if they don't match your personal opinions?
So this is actually something that we worked on in Chubbuck over the last several years. We do a lot of surveys when we are looking at doing new parks or what direction the community wants to go. We have put out a lot of surveys, and a lot of times some of the answers surprise me, but yes, we definitely look at those and we see what direction most of the residents want to go, and we try to make our plans based on that.
Thank you.
Okay, that is a challenging question. I think when I first got on the council, I remember our clerk at the time would remind me, we are representative government. The people have elected you to represent their best interest. I think that the challenge comes, of course, we want to do the people's wishes. I think the challenge comes when the people don't necessarily have all of the information that we have. They haven't been at all the study sessions. They don't know the limitations that we have. And sometimes you have to make unpopular opinion or unpopular decisions that are still within the public's best interest. It doesn't mean you're not listening to them. It just means that you understand that they've entrusted you with making decisions on within their best interests. So I think bridging the gap between communication has happened, like Mel said, with this different surveys that we've done, which we create a foundation for that. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to operate in the people's best interests, not necessarily what the loudest voices will feel.
Thank you. What would you do to increase transparency in city government?
So that was a big thing for me when I ran the first time, and I really wanted to not just increase transparency, but generate dialogue and generate excitement and interest. I actually was the one who encouraged the mayor to do the mayor's update on Fridays for social media, which he did for quite a while. I noticed he's not doing that anymore, so maybe I can encourage him to do that again. But I think that the general sentiment is people aren't super engaged, and that's okay for those people who are engaged. So I think that we need to stay communicating as best we can for the people who are engaged. So I think it's really important to involve the press, to be doing regular press releases, to be inviting them to meetings where, and even there's hot button issues, because especially in hot button issues, it's so important to stay in front of that and to be willing to communicate and not make them dig for information.